keep the big shoes. One set of girls and banner. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. They hiding corruption inside the cup. Look how evil set
there and fabricate that. Unless you say who the person is, I can't comment on anonymous people.
Okay, well, let's talk about specific individuals. What is your relationship with Mr. Su Jurong?
Su? Oh, Su?
How old are you?
I am 28, sir.
And where do you live?
In PT.
You own your own home?
Not as yet.
Applied for a house lot?
Not as yet.
Well, sit down. You're not participating on the enhancement of your own life. At 20.
In the year 2024. Welcome to Over to You, everyone. How are you guys doing? How was your day? Hope everyone is doing well. Those on the ground in Guyana, all the vendors out front, big market, border market, good evening to you guys. Before I even get into the program, let me just give a quick call out to all those who are present here. Sharon Griffith, good evening. Will Don Cook, Altia Galloway, pleasant good evening. Siobhan McDonald, Miss Desiree Smart Felix, Aileen Norton, good evening. Sandra Hanover, and the Honorable Mr. Victor Ben, a pleasant good evening to you guys. Welcome to the program. Please, everyone, share the link, like the program. This is Over to You, a program by the people for the people. It is your program, it's your hour. We are going to rock and roll today for about an hour or so. All right. And we have a few pertinent topics we want to talk about. Amongst them, the cash grant, or what many Guyanese are calling it today, the scamp grant. That's a new name they have given to the cash grant now, the scamp grant. So, hey, look, Guyanese are figuring out names for everything these days. You know, and that is just based on the government that we currently have in place right now, right? A government that is totally not for the people. Now, let's get into some business here. Now, the cash grant, the latest update, right, is that public servants and pensioners may, it's not guaranteed, may receive their $100,000 before, okay, on or before Christmas Day. All right. Everyone else will have to wait until after the 2025 budget. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, it's Christmas time. We know how Guyanese feel about Christmas. Do you guys really believe that this was the correct time to announce this cash grant? Let's be honest. Don't you think that the PPPC jumped the gun here? And it shows that they were totally unprepared. Now, is the idea a good idea? Yes, because it puts money in a struggling people's hand. I wouldn't say the idea is a bad idea, right? Because I'm not directly experiencing the poverty and the struggles with cost of living and inflation that the normal Guyanese on the ground is experiencing. So it would be very disingenuous for me to say the idea of a cash grant is a bad idea. Okay? But having an idea and executing it, it's two different things. Because you could have the idea, but then you have to put together a plan. You got to have a vision of how you are going to execute. And this is ideally where the PPPC tends to always struggle when it comes to execution, one way or the other. Now, you're saying to most Guyanese, because public servants and pensioners don't make up most Guyanese, I don't think so. Okay? So you're saying to most Guyanese that they have to wait until after the 2025 budget. I believe that everybody should have waited until after the 2025 budget. That way there is one distribution. And I would have said earlier that the cash grants should be a part of the budget. Let the cash grant be a part of the budget. This way, when you budget, you are allocating directly for the Guyanese people. So they know that they have something to receive. And PPP, when I'm saying that I want the cash grant to be included in the budget, I'm not talking about a one-time cash grant. To all Guyanese out there, a one-time cash grant is unacceptable. Okay? It is totally unacceptable. Also being aware, my brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, this evening, that the pushing back of this whole cash grant until after the 2025 budget, it gives the PPP also an opportunity to have, to push out and say, hey, we need this robust budget because we need to, fund the cash grants for people. Right? And they can put pressure, they can try to put pressure on the opposition this way. And if the opposition push back, right, the picture they will paint to the Guyanese people is that the opposition doesn't want them to have money in their hands. Hey, guys, look, we are on to all the games now. The hypocrisy is not working anymore. Okay? We are on to it. This whole thing with pushing back this cash grant is a smoke screen. Why? This cash grant is going to become a huge part of conversation leading up to that 2025 budget. Right? And it may take the focus of many off of the Guyana Elections Commission. Right? That key organ, our election organ, that key organ that needs to be working perfectly in 2025, it may take, key people, their focus off from that. But I'm going to be here. We're going to be here to remind them, right, that $100,000 does not take care of the issues that are affecting Guyanese. It really does nothing of a material nature, okay, to obliterate the suppression, the oppression that Guyanese are living under. The issues they are facing with cost of living, the issues they are facing with inflation. Right? It does nothing to lower the poverty levels in Guyana. $100,000 can't do nothing. Most will spend that out in I would say maybe in 3 weeks. Some people, depending how they shop, that can be a 1 week shopping, depending on the amount of children that they have, amongst other things. Right? But what helps, what I believe helps, is proper job creation, making University of Guyana once again free, which the PPP is saying that university is going to be free starting in 2025. Hey, look, I usually, with the PPPC, I have to see to believe, right? You remember what the installed president said? Cash grant instantaneously, right? That's what he said. Cash grant instantaneously. Now we are hearing after budget 2025 for most, right? Free university, we have to wait and see. But like I was saying, free university, proper job creation. Those people from 1991 to now that would have missed university, that probably had dreams of attending university. Okay, we need to bring those people back on board and, let them know that it's better late than never. You want to go back to university, you can go back to university, right? So education is going to be very, very key. And some measure, some legislation need to be put together for us to have a rebalancing of the wealth in Guyana, right? Because when you look at, the people that are poverty stricken in Guyana across the board, it's happening to all 6 ethnic groups, but more so Guyanese of African descent. Okay, more so to Guyanese of African descent. We have to put measures in place to eradicate poverty in Guyana. We have to. Right? We have to. All right. Again, the cash grant, I believe, is going to be a major distraction next year. And we shouldn't allow it to be. Because come next year, the focus should be to have the PPPC removed from power. What I would hope would be permanently. Guyana have 6 ethnic groups. It is my belief, and it is the belief of many, that a coalition government is the best government for Guyana. My opinion, it brings everyone and gives everyone an opportunity to come to the table with their ideas. Okay? It gives everyone a seat at the table. Hence, it is good, and it is good for the people of Guyana. Speaking of coalition, just to piggyback a little bit on the straight up conversation last night, I have reached out to both sides. I've heard from the AFC, I've heard from the PNCR. Not a chance of anybody going in any other direction but forming a coalition. So Guyanese, lift your heads. Lift your heads. There is going to be a coalition. Okay? There is going to be an APNU, AFC, WPA coalition. Don't know where the talks are. Today is the last day of November. We're entering the month of December, which of course is the biggest holiday in Guyana, Christmas. I don't know how much they can get done between I would say the 2nd of December. You wouldn't be conducting such business I don't believe on a Sunday, right? The 2nd of December until the end of the year, I don't know how much they can get done in that period of time, but I expect that January is going to be a massive month when it comes to the formation of this coalition. Okay, because I'll tell you guys one thing. This is not a game. We're talking about people's lives, right? And we can't play around with people's lives. You're going to put a coalition together, you need to start getting that coalition together now. I think the Guyanese people are not in for surprises right now. They don't want any surprises. All right? They have been oppressed for way too long. Too many of them are living in poverty. All right? Fastest growing economy in the world, and so many in Guyana are living below the poverty line. It's shameful. Okay? It's shameful. Also, to you, the Guyanese people, I am going to hold you guys accountable for vetting your leaders. I want you guys to vet these people. All right? I want you guys to take time in the night and pray about the decisions that you're about to make. Right? Because some of these people that are sitting there in parliament have no right being in parliament. None whatsoever being in parliament. Why? Because their passion is not to serve you. Their passion is not to serve you. You see, when you're going to sit in parliament, you see, when you are working for a people, you have to be driven to such a thing. Right? You have to be driven to such a thing. It has to be something that you love. If your ulterior motive is to enhance your business or is to steal, you have no right being in parliament. Now, talking of being in parliament, I would really like to hear, you guys in the audience, what do you guys think about parliamentarians that owns and manages businesses? I want to know how many of you agree with me that these people should divest when going into government because it's a conflict of interest. They should divest or revert their business to a holding company to manage, and holding intermediary along with maybe family members to manage their business, where they do not have a hand in the day-to-day operations of that business. Listen, we, to some extent, yes, you can take certain things from a business and apply it to a country. But I'm going to say this. You cannot run a country like a business. All right? You're dealing with people. You are dealing with thousands of people. All right? When you run a business, you run it like something you own, something you control, something you make decisions on, something you take risk with. Right? You have your own business, you can take risk with that business. But when you're working for the people of Guyana, man, you have to be very careful. You cannot be taking risk with their lives. You cannot be taking risk with their well-being. And that's why I call on you Guyanese to lift your standards up. And how do you lift those standards up? It starts with you vetting your leaders and putting the right personnel, the right people in place to conduct your business. Oh, yes. Guyana is the business of the Guyanese people. And when the Guyanese people place parliamentarians in place and put a government in place, that government is in place to conduct the business of the Guyanese people. Not your own business, not filling your pocket, not putting contracts out there and collecting kickbacks, not giving out contracts to individuals who have no expertise in the area whatsoever. But you giving out contracts to them, and then they become the subcontractors. How can that be? How can that be? So we have got to get serious. I'm not saying that contracts should not be given out, but the tender process needs to be a fair process. You see, you look, I don't want to call the name, but I got to call the name. You saw Charandas Prasad came out the other day with this $50 million contract. And you heard what he accused the PPP of doing, right? Giving out contracts to those in the PNCR who would have crossed the floor. He has a problem with that. So you see how deep racism runs in Guyana? You see how people are thinking? We don't think anymore about love one for another. We don't think about that anymore. What we think about the love of money. And that is going to be our downfall in Guyana. Keep going down that road and see where the country goes. Keep going down the road we're going down and see where Guyana goes. See if there's going to be a Guyana. Okay? It will be sold to the highest bidder or maybe the lowest bidder. We're dealing with the PPP here. I don't have, and I'm going to say it again, I have no issue with growth, with investment. I have no issue with any company coming into Guyana to invest. But when you see you have investors who's concocting with the government and making deals like the deal that we saw it. This is not alleged. We saw it with our own eyes. The deal that was being made with Jagdeo and Sue at Jagdeo's residence, we saw it. I'm not alleging anything here. We saw Jagdeo in the corner. We saw the deal is being done. We hear that Sue was saying to the investor, just come to me and I'm going to take you to the first vice president and he's going to take care of everything. There's nothing to worry about. Where's GRA? Where's Go Invest? Where are these agencies that are put together to handle this? And to both sides, the opposition and the PPP. Why don't you guys want to put into law where there is that you guys are comprehensively audited? You and all other high-level individuals in government is comprehensively audited every 2 years to make sure, man, that your assets is matching up to your actual salaries. Look, when we want to sit in government, we have to be prepared to be both independent in fact and appearance. We have to be prepared to to have a very high level of integrity. This is not a game. We got to be accountable and transparent to the people of Guyana. That is what we're not getting. That is what we're not getting. I'm not going to come here and give passes to people. I'm not going to come here and watch people, different governments, different parties take the helm when it comes to leading Guyana. And their modus operandi is just to continue to suck the Guyanese people dry. I'm going to call them out. And I want the people of Guyana to rally with me in calling these people out. I find it very hypocritical when I see people taking out pictures with big smiles on their face. I ask the question sometimes, yes, they have their personal life. Hey, look, I'm not infringing on people's personal life. I'm not saying that people must not smile. But if I'm going to be smiling as a politician, it's going to be when my people are prosperous or when I make a deal that is favorable to the Guyanese people. Look, we play too much games. That's what we do. We play a lot of games. These politicians are playing games, and they're playing games because the people are allowing them to play games. We got to get serious. This is a serious game. You guys recall when the first vice president go into parliament and said there's a clown show? That shows you what that guy thinks of the normal born and bred Guyanese. That's to show what he thinks of Guyanese. He thinks that you guys are inferior. He thinks that you guys don't deserve his time. I've said it before and I'm going to say it again. When people want to step up to be leaders of men, leaders of people, you got to be able to demonstrate some measure of love, some measure of care. Because if you don't, you're not serious. And a lot of the politicians we have today on both sides, they're not serious. Okay? They're not serious. Guyanese, you need to step up to the plate and you need to make sure that they're serious about your business. Right? You have to make sure that they're serious about your business. You think this extraction of oil, you guys are not paying the price? Or you guys are paying the price? The climate in Guyana is not what Guyanese are accustomed to. It's extra warm. It's extra warm. Right? We knew that oil would change, the extraction of oil would change the ecosystem. It's extra warm. You should be compensated for having to endure the extra warm weather. Right? I'm sure if Guyanese are having their families in the diaspora send them air conditioners, I'm sure the PPP would not say that, hey, air conditioners and stuff, cooling items coming into Guyana, all duty free. These guys find every way possible to capture as much money, as much revenue as they can. And it does not reflect in the quality of life of the normal Guyanese. It is not reflecting in the quality of life of normal Guyanese. How can we start to bring about this change? How can we? Okay. If we want our quality of life to change in Guyana, how do we start to bring about this change? Well, there's a few things that you can do as Guyanese, right? You can start putting yourself in that position where you, for once, I'm not telling you don't support any and every business, but your first thought process should be to support businesses within your community. Businesses where you know that the revenue earned is going to stay in your community and assist with the building of your community, right? Because when you purchase from that entrepreneur, that small business entrepreneur inside your community, you know that you're building a business within your community. Not telling you to do not support the Chinese. There are certain things that that small business may not have that you need to go to the Chinese to get. Okay. But I'm just telling you to diversify your support. You don't always go to the store that has the cheapest items. Sometimes there's a need to do that. It depends on the person's situation. But there are persons who could be like, okay, you know what? I'm going to support this small business. You can start there. The other place that you can start, again, like I said, and this is so important, is vetting your leaders, okay? And making sure that you vote correct come 2025. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not just saying this because I want to say it. I'm saying this because we have sat down. We have sat down and we've watched the PPPC for the last 4+ years. We have watched them operate. Okay? And we have watched the PPPC totally mismanage Guyana as a country. Okay? It's mismanagement across the board. It's corruption across the board. The PPPC is presenting a budget. You're busy lambasting the opposition instead of telling the Guyanese people, okay, making a pledge to the Guyanese people as to what you have done and what you will be doing going forward. Why are you lambasting an opposition at your budget presentation, an opposition that you don't even engage? You act like the opposition is non-existent. Barry Jagdeo State's press conference, he said, when we implement, meaning when we, the PPP, implement. Okay? When we implement these changes, or when we go to Parliament to vote to go back into the Natural Resource Fund for whatever we want, you guys could come and bark how much you want to bark. We have a 1-seat majority, and we will use it to our advantage. We have to do better. All right. We can start off by changing this government in 2025. All right. And giving a chance to the opposition. We're giving the opposition a chance to do right by the people of Guyana. Their first interest needs to be the people of Guyana. And I'm here to watch. Right? This is not a game of favoritism. If you're not executing, your name is going to be called. If a party is not executing, that party name is going to be called out. If a government is not executing, the government will be called out. It's about execution on behalf of the people. We still have less than 1 million people. We still have less than 1 million people in Guyana. We need to get it done now, where we got a hold of our population, you know, and we pull them out of this poverty. You know, it's what to be as a young child. Let's say 13, 14 years old, where you're starting to get that real understanding. You're watching your parents struggle with your brothers and sisters and everybody else. But when you look up the road and you look across the road and you look around you, you see massive businesses, massive buildings going up, owned by ministers. How would you feel? Come on. We could get out there and we can take our pictures and we can skin our teeth, because we are not facing what the impoverished Guyanese is facing. And if I were you guys, I would keep my teeth in my mouth until I fix such issues. Nobody don't want to see your smiling faces. You guys have been a failure to the people of Guyana. Nobody don't want to see your smiling faces. And then some of you ministers on the other side, on the side of the opposition, nobody can see you executing on behalf of the people, but they can see you posing up with Barry Jagdeo amongst others, with your teeth out your mouth, skinny your teeth, because you take the business of the people and make it a joke. But don't worry, I do believe that the Guyanese people will act accordingly. I do believe that there is going to be a coalition, and this cannot continue. Also, what I do believe is that the election in 2025 is going to have some major challenges. Okay, I'm looking at time, guys. We have about 15 minutes left, so I'm going to just try to get in this quickly. The elections of 2025 is going to have some challenges, because when a voters list is showing 800 plus whatever thousand Guyanese, it's very concerning. I don't want to believe that we have 900,000 people in Guyana. I think that will be pushing it. Okay, I believe that would be pushing it. All right. As Ganesh Mahipal would have said, about 200,000 individuals there is either individuals in the diaspora who've moved on to the diaspora, and individuals who would have been deceased over the years. I do believe that people who would have been deceased from around, it could even be in the late 80s, are still on that list. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to ask a question on your behalf because Dr. Hines did pose some questions to GCOM and they come back about Article 63 and they didn't have jurisdiction over making certain decisions with elections and all these kind of things. Okay. Dr. Hines pose this question. Wayne Caesar have a question to pose on behalf of the Guyanese people. Miss Claudette C., I'm going to ask you this question, right? Because you are a part of the 2020 elections. Okay. You see where that election would have leave Guyana and leave its people. Very divided and at each other's throat. You're the GCOM chair. Retired judge, retired. You've got good experience. My simple question to you is, what have you done from then, 2020, to now? What processes have you put in place to mitigate the reoccurrence of what would have happened in 2020 from happening again? That's my question. What have you and your staff done that you can share with the public that make it make sense as to why we should have you sitting there receiving a salary? I just want you to make it make sense to me and the public. Make it make sense to us. Please do. I'm asking you, I'm begging you to. I'm begging you to make it make sense as to why you should be sitting there. Extrapolate for the public a summary of what GCOM would have done as a body to mitigate what would have occurred in 2020 from occurring again. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say this. Your elections in Guyana is a full setup. All right? You guys got some serious work to do. All right? Guyana is a very, 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 very corrupt country. All right? I'm going to say this. And all these people sitting in parliament, don't worry. I'll say what I have to say with regards to you guys very, very soon. I'm evaluating and analyzing you guys. I'm just evaluating and analyzing you guys. Look, I'm not gonna come on programs and waste time. When I come on programs and we're doing programs, my brothers and sisters, we want to be moving along. We don't want to be stuck on any one thing. All right? It's either you are for the people or you're not for the people. And we're going to keep it moving, right? Because in the end, what we're doing here has to be a positive means to an end. A positive means to a positive end, meaning prosperity for the people of Guyana. That's what this has to lead to. And let me let you guys know. In this fight that we are fighting here, we will have to eliminate a lot of people. All right? A lot of people are going to rear their ugly faces as we get closer to the 2025 elections. We have a lot of snakes and hypocrites around. A lot of them. You're going to see them. All over. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All right? In the social media realm, there are social media activists that you're going to find out that are hypocrites later on. You're going to see all kinds of things. Like I said before, when you come and you're working for the people of Guyana, even if you're doing a program like this, right? You got to be independent, man. You're working for the people of Guyana. You're working for the people of Guyana. You're not working to benefit yourself, right? You'll see. All right? You'll see. You have to be independent. Yanet Elias, BJ love and respect Modi, not the picture guys and picture girls. Well, you know something? Hey, when Barry Jagdeo takes pictures with individuals from the opposition, he just do a flash there and he hopes that the people say, well, look, Barry Jagdeo is interacting. You know, these people are good, whatever the case may be. Right? It's good visuals. Good visuals. He could share it with the world. You know, if he's ever questioned, he said, well, look here. Here is me and this MP here in a picture. How does she look? Is she not smiling? Is he not smiling? So what do we have? What problem do we have? You see, ladies and gentlemen, the MPs can take pictures with whomever they want to take pictures with. You know why? They receive their salary, 250,000 US or thereof, every month. They have not gone a month without being paid. That's why, like I said, I would not put it past that there are collusions at collusion at the top of government. I would not say no that's not happening. I would not say that there are certain MPs in the opposition who is just there to attend meeting and get information and take it to the other side. And vice versa, there may be people from the other side that is giving information to the opposition. But what we, the people of Guyana, the people of Guyana need to stop. We need to remove these corrupt politicians that are bringing our country down from their posts. Who in a sandpit, who in got investments here and all, and I'm still waiting for the list of the investors for Sheriff Corporation. That should be something that's public. Right? That should be something that's public. Look, let's start being transparent in Guyana. Let's start being transparent in Guyana. All right, guys, I'm looking 7:55. We have 5 more minutes. 7:55 Eastern Standard Time here in North America. I know it's 8:55 in Guyana. You know, we got to hold our heads up. One thing I'm very happy about is that I made contact with both sides, the AFC and the PNCR side. I don't need to make contact with the WPA because I know I can put my head. I'm not even going to put my hand. I'll put my head on the block that the WPA would never go along with the PPPC. Never. Not at this point. It happened before. But that was then. This is now. Okay? That was then. This is now. The WPA is very, very resolute. They are keeping the pressure on. All right? We all have been keeping the pressure on. You see, we throw a lit stick down the hole and you see Claudette Singh come flying out. This is how we're going to bring everybody out. We're going to light the fire in those holes and they're going to come flying out. All right? GCOM needs a lot of reforming. GCOM needs a lot of reforming. All right? They have done a total disservice to the people of Guyana. The ERC needs to be decommissioned and put out of service. They have done nothing. Again, another disservice to the people of Guyana. All right, the Ethnic Relations Commission. I'm calling you guys out. I haven't gotten any notes that you guys would have written anyone on the side of the opposition. So I'm pretty happy with that. Okay, you guys keep your pens in your pockets. All right, you remember what I said to you guys. You want to pen somebody, pen Barajagio first. Then you could come and talk to us after. All right, you're not going to be put in place to be biased in favor of the PPPC and attack us. We will not allow it. We will not allow it. So, Ethnic Relations Commission, you guys could stay in your car now. Ladies and gentlemen, Guyanese, let's continue to hold our heads up. All right? When it is all said and done, Guyana do belong to all of us. We will not take Guyana and make it into an Afro state. We will not take Guyana and make it into an Indo state. We will not take Guyana and make it into a Chinese, Portuguese, mixed Guyanese, okay, or Amerindian Guyanese state. We're going to take Guyana and make it into a state for all 6 ethnic groups called the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, where we're going to have our people living in love and harmony amongst each other, which they do. It is the PPP that has stoked the racist narrative, particularly them. I'm not going to say it's a PPP 100%, but oh man, distribution of wealth in Guyana. 85 to 90% of the wealth in Guyana owned by Guyanese of Indian descent. That got to change. That has to change. We have to put reforms in place to change that. Oh, guys, before I go, what I have, 1 minute. I received a call from a friend who was visiting Guyana. And he would have told me that when he went to the Cambio to change his money, the rates were different for Guyanese of African descent as opposed to Guyanese of East Indian descent. This better not be true. This better not be true. It's the same thing people are complaining about interest rates. We need to investigate the banking institutions in Guyana. I still believe so. Just to make sure that their practices are practices that are fair to all 6 ethnic groups in Guyana. We shouldn't even have to be saying ethnic groups. It should just be the Guyanese people. But this is what the PPP has turned things into, and this is what we need to reverse. Marlon Thomas, has Roysdale Ford resigned from the party? He has not. I am confirming that Roysdale Ford has not resigned from the PNCR. He has not. Okay? Roysdale Ford remains an asset. All right? He remains an asset to the PNCR. He has not resigned. Look, there are things to be worked out in the PNCR, and they're going to get to that. I think we would have said that on a few shows back, that they need to have meetings and they need to get everybody on board. If not, we're going to call the meetings. Because this opposition needs to be strong and stout. It needs to be an opposition that is built to represent the people of Guyana. Right? And all talent is needed. Look, guys, Roysdale Ford have done an excellent job with a lot of cases when it comes to the opposition. He has done excellent work also with pro bono cases when it comes to the normal everyday Guyanese. So he works. He's not a lazy guy. He works. All right, but he's not resigned from Parliament, and Royce Ilford would be a good asset to the PNCR going forward in this bid for the 2025 elections as a coalition along with the AFCWPA and the other parties, the other small joiner parties. All right. I hope you guys have good things planned for the rest of your Saturday. All right. I'm gonna tell you guys this. I don't typically do this, but today I celebrated a birth anniversary. And you know, for me, it was nice. I got up, I prayed, I do, you know, what I normally do and these type of things. But it was business as usual, no big celebration and all that stuff. I'm ready to celebrate when I see things are going better for the people of Guyana. That's gonna be my time of celebration. So I continue to hold and I continue to wait and we continue to fight. Brothers and sisters, let's hold our heads up. There is no way any right thinking, external, you understand me, delegate could look and say this, that the PPP has done great things for Guyana. Yes, I do see streets and roads. I do see that. You can't see something and act blind like if you don't see it. I do see that. While that is important, what is actually so much more important is the quality of life of our Guyanese brothers and sisters. Human life is always, human capital is always more important than anything else. And everything starts and ends with human capital. Thanks to all of you guys for the birthday wishes. I really appreciate it. Ladies and gentlemen, we will take our leave this Saturday night, okay? The last day of November 2024. And I look forward to seeing each and every one of you next Saturday. I know a lot of you are going to be preparing for the Christmas holidays. Look, guys, make the best of it. You know, Christmas is a favorite holiday of the Guyanese people. Make the best of it. Celebrate it in style the best way you can. All right? For Christmas, you don't always have to go out and buy new curtains and buy new this. If you guys stuff from last year, put up your stuff. Who cares? Who cares? Right? You don't have to go out and buy again this year. It gives you some more disposable income. That's money that you can leave on your bank account for a day that is a rainy day. Right? So I want you guys to spend smartly, wisely. All right? You're going to be going out tonight. Oh, by the way, you on the ground in Guyana, when you guys get off from over to you, go get dressed, jump in a taxi, flag down your bus or whatever it is, and head to Congress Place. They got oldies there tonight. There is oldies at Congress Place tonight. Y'all head down to Congress Place. All right? I see you. Who's there? Who is this? Okay, guys. I've just received a message from the CEO, and you guys could see it on screen there. He has just indicated that the program should go until 8:30. Well, he calls the shots, right? There's nothing that I can really do about it. So he says 8:30. So, guys, we are on for another 24 minutes. But there is oldies at Congress Place tonight. All right? So you guys get dressed and, you know, get down there and enjoy yourselves, right? The PNCR needs a lot of support. So please get down there. That's your largest party in the coalition. I also encourage people out there to support the AFC and to support the WPA, because when it is all said and done, those parties are going to all become one. They are going to all become one. Man, I can't stop stressing. I just cannot stop stressing how critical this 2025 elections is going to be. Good evening, Flash Gordon. I see you there. Yeah. I cannot stress enough how critical this 2025 elections is going to be. Those scrutineers, they have a critical role to play, a very, very critical role to play. You can't get up and go to the bathroom at any and every time. You got to be on your game. This is so critical. You got to make sure that you have healthy scrutineers there also, not people who want to use the bathroom every 15 minutes. Because then cat is going to eat our dinner. Oh, Miss Simons, what's the damage to partake of the Congress, of the happenings at Congress Place? I don't know the ticket prices, but I could tell you one thing, it's going to be very, very, very affordable. It's going to be very affordable. The PNCR is not a big money party. It's most of the times is what, the normal born and bred everyday Guyanese could afford. All right. Marlon Thomas, don't worry, Wayne. I will be there as a scrutineer to scrutinize. Thank you, Marlon. Yanet Elias, the opposition needs to get more serious about the voters list. I agree, Yanet. And Yanet, if you recall, from the time I've started being on this program over to you, we have started talking about that voters list and how critical it was to get in front of that as early as possible. Now elections is almost upon us. We're talking about biometrics now. That's why I asked Claudette Singh to extrapolate a summary and give to the Guyanese people, be transparent, give to the Guyanese people what GCOM would have done from since 2020 to now to mitigate what would have occurred in 2020 from occurring again this year. Right? Marlon Thomas, $1,000. $1,000. Okay, $1,000 for entry. Safarious Pride. This election, Jagio will have all tricks and plans to thief and rig. Well, yes. Yes. Neville Seatal, good evening. Good evening. Good evening, Civic. Beatrice Selby, I see you. Tyrone Peters, good evening. Vilma Adams, good evening. Yeah. Critical elections in 2025. Critical. I know a lot of Guyanese are sitting and they're also waiting to see what happens with university. I haven't seen the procedures of okay, you said free university. Give us a breakdown. What's free? What do you have to walk with? What do you have to show? You go, you take a transcript, and what else do you do? When it comes to a bill, you receive a bill with a zero balance. How does this work? How does this work? Right? Has government already done the takeover for the University of Guyana from a financial perspective? That has not been announced as yet. Right? That has not been announced as yet. We are still awaiting that announcement. But I must say that I am so happy. I am so very happy to those CXC graduates and those high school graduates who are coming from poor families, right? And would not have had the opportunity to attend university because of financial reasons, that they will now have the opportunity to a free university education. And young brothers and sisters, and even older folks, because folks who would not have gotten the opportunity back from 91 all the way till now, should have that opportunity now to attend the University of Guyana. Right. Guys, take this very seriously. Don't go there, sit down and waste time. Put effort into it. Keep your grades up. Okay, because the quickest opportunity, the fastest opportunity these people get an opportunity to take this away from you, they will, without a doubt. So focus, focus, focus. Brothers and sisters, this is not a good deed that the PPPC would have done for you. Do not take it as that. Free education should have never been taken off the table. Never. All right? There were ways that this could have been addressed up front. But like I said, the PPPC always put the carriage before the horse. They do not do studies. They do not conduct studies. And it's going to continue. The trend is going to continue. They see another countries doing something. They want to implement it in Guyana. They just go ahead and implement it. All countries are different. All environments are different. Hence the reason we need studies. Because what may work in Suriname may not work in Guyana. Yes, Suriname would have given out 750 US, I think, per person. Yeah. 750 US. Guyanese could have received something in that ballpark. I think when I did the calculation of all 3 years, I think it came up to $1,000 plus that Guyanese should have already received. But again, the opposition should be pushing for the cash grants to be in all budgets going forward. Not just the 2025 budget, but all budgets going forward should have included in it a cash distribution to all adult Guyanese citizens. All right? All adult Guyanese citizens. I'll pivot quick to housing. Here's who is in charge of housing. Minister who? Colin Crowell. Department of Housing. Atrocious. Despicable. Corrupt. Now, you guys would have given out house lots to individuals. Then you went back to those same individuals, a few of those same individuals, because one of them happens to be a friend of mine and has been asking me for some time to mention what he's been experiencing on this program. And I find that we have some time, so I'm going to do it tonight. So this individual was told, after already been given a house lot, he was told, and this not what's interesting about this. This is not the only person I've heard this from. So it's a scheme. This government is extremely corrupt. This government is extremely corrupt, and I want to say this to the opposition. When I say this government is extremely corrupt, you guys are a part of the government. You guys are a part of the government. Okay, so you guys need to start pushing this government very, very hard, because your reputation is also being placed with these criminals. Right. Back to this story. this individual would have gotten notification from housing that he is qualified for another house lot. So you know land is, if somebody say, hey, you're qualified for another house lot, you're like, what? Another piece of land? Hey, this is something that I can do something with. So what you gonna do? You're gonna quickly gather your money and you're gonna pay. Right. So the individual gather up the money and the individual paid for the house lot. Okay. Now payment is made. Payment is received by housing. All right. He then would have received a letter. Upon further review, we see that you are not qualified for this house, for a second house lot. And therefore, you would have to relinquish the house lot. Okay. All right. Housing is who came to this individual for us. This individual did not go to housing for a second housing lot. Housing is who came to him. All right. Housing is who came to him. All right. The housing lot was relinquished back to housing. Here is where the problem lies. In retrieving back your money. You see, I always say that everything with a PPP, it comes down to money. Now, this man has been waiting close to a year to receive back his refund. He's been getting things like, oh yes, your refund is in the consolidated fund. We have to do this, or we have to do this, and we have to do that. What consolidated fund? Okay, I know that you guys have a consolidated fund, but what is holding up that individual refund? You guys would have already took back the land, so it should have been an exchange. We are taking back the land. Here is your money. Why you guys take back the land and still want to keep the people's money? You're not giving back the money to these individuals, Mr. Colin Crowell and company. Why? Guyanese are already living in poverty. It's not easy to come up with that type of money. It's not easy to give out that type of money and you're not getting any value in return. What are you guys doing? What's happening at housing? Why is it that Guyanese are on the list for 17 years? My good friend Dennis Atwell, I think he's been on the list for 10 years or 15 years, awaiting a call for a house lot. This is also for the opposition, right? This is also for the opposition, and Aubrey North is not. I'm not going to call out the leader of the opposition name on this because he wasn't the leader of the opposition at the time, so he's going to get exempt from this one. But anyone who was involved in the last coalition government from 2015 to 2020, particularly whomever was in charge of housing, this time around, we have to do way better. Why are you guys holding back house lots from Guyanese? They're entitled to a piece of land. What are you holding it up for? What, you're going to have some external person come and give you a higher bid for the piece of land? Come on, guys. Everybody got to live here. I believe that is every Guyanese dream to own their own home. in 2025, when I believe that there's going to be a change in government, I strongly believe so. I'm going to be right here. I'm going to be right here to make sure that those individuals who have to be refunded for lands, amongst other things, they get their refunds. I'm going to hold, because look, your government. You can't come in and say, oh, the last government is responsible for that. No, everything that the last government was responsible, you're responsible for now. The cycle continues. So those individuals that are out there still with those COVID pink slips that has not received that COVID cash grant and will not receive that COVID cash grant under the PPPC, I put the onus on the incoming government to budget accordingly and make sure that those COVID cash grants for those individuals who never received it, who are all in those pink slips, is honored. It is the right thing to do. We got to start getting back to basics. What is right and what is wrong. Right? The PPPC is wrong for Guyana. We got to find a solution that is correct and right for Guyana and its people. Housing, we got to do a way better job. I love the rent to own concept. I love the rent to own concept. Flash Garden, let me ask you the question one more time. It is time for the coalition to send a list of names, I guess you mean names, for a new GCOM person. Flash, that's a process. That's a process. I'm sure Dr. Hines would have reviewed that process in depthly. Hence the reason he has taken the position that he would have taken when it comes to the GCOM chair. I think that's something that the hierarchy of the opposition, Dr. Hines, Comrade Hughes, Comrade Norton, and their teams would have to further review, and that may actually end up going to court, because I don't think you can just remove the GCOM chair just like that. But Flash, maybe one of those bases of removing that GCOM chair may be lack of performance. And if that's a basis, then yes, most definitely, she has not performed. Her performance has been nothing short of atrocious, despicable, no respect for the people of Guyana, despicable. And then it's going to come and say that she's going to retire when she feels like. Clarity, who you think you are? You think you're another Jack Dio that's going to just dictate over to the Guyanese people? You're sitting there in 2025. Okay? That election better be free and fair, because Guyanese may respond in ways that you guys may not like. I don't condone it, but I'm saying there's always a breaking point for everyone. I think the Guyanese people has been very, very, very patient, and I commend them for that. They have not jumped the gun on anything. But I am going to say this again. Protest, protest, protest. Tuesday. Come on, guys. Everybody going out to Congress Place tonight and do Olies. Let's do some Olies Tuesday, 1 o'clock in the afternoon in front of GCOM for 1 hour, and then you could go do whatever else you have to do. You know, let's do that, and let's increase the protest days, man. You know, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Everybody bring out their group whenever you feel like going out there. I hope also the courts are ready for 2025, because you may have petitions again. We need to change the rules when it comes to petitions in Guyana. Petitions need to be addressed, you understand me, quickly. All right? Quickly. It should move to the front of the line expeditiously. To the front of the line. We take too long. And with these things, you have the wrong government sitting in place. Because this is exactly what's happening from 2020, you know. PPP did not win the 2020 elections. The PPP did not win 20, but they get to sit there, man. They wiggle their way into government because the deals was already made. These external deals was already made before the 2020 elections, and they guarantee these individuals that they will be the one in power for force oil. That's what the 2020 elections was all about. Who is going to be in power for force oil? But what they thought you, the Guyanese people, would have been as passive as you were for those 23 years when they dominated. Extrajudicial killings, all these external and internal threats against you guys. You know? The police aggressively harassing citizens. That's the posture they expected you guys to take. That's why they did what they did in 2020. But you guys have surprised them because we have stood up. We have stood up, and particularly the social media influencers and talk show hosts. Oh, they have led the charge. And I want to say thank you to all of them. They have led the charge. I want to also say to them, let's remember, this work that we're doing is to the Guyanese people. It's not about us having popularity. It's not a popularity contest. People are punishing in Guyana. People are punishing in Guyana. So it can be a popularity contest. Let's come out. Let's address issues. If the issues lead you to somebody personally, and you have to address them personally, then do so. The issue led you there. But let's come on and let's address the issues that are pertinent and that are affecting the Guyanese people. My brothers and sisters, 8:30 is upon us. You know, I want to thank you guys again. Staying the extra half an hour with me. There's not a show without you guys. Over to You is in existence because of you guys. I can't come out here and we have a discourse, me by myself. I need you guys. All right. So I want to really, really thank you guys tonight. And, you know, I love you guys. You guys know that. I love you guys. If I didn't love you guys, I wouldn't be doing this. Love you guys very, very, very much. Yes, Desiree Simons, US $5. US $5, or is Don Will Don Cook? Yes, that's US $5. That's the charge to go into the Oli's dance tonight at Congress Place. So if you don't in Guyana from the US, and you just walk with a little, you know, $100 because it's $5 entrance fee, and then you could spend your rest of money. However, if you want to be conservative. But if you want to go big, you could walk with $1,000, man. That don't hurt either. You know? There's a Barrington Claudette Singh is a wicked witch. Yes. Yes, yes, yes. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. See you guys next Saturday. Listen, you're going out to the party at Congress Place. If you drink, taxi home. If you drive going there and you drink, somebody who's not drunk is going to take the wheel and operate the motor vehicle. Motor vehicles, we all know, they can become weapons also. All right? All those who are going to be, you know, in the highways and the byways, be careful. Carry yourselves well. Be safe, be safe, be safe. Look out for yourself, not just for yourself, but for others also. All right. Yes, the CEO. All right, good. All right, guys. So I will see you guys next weekend. Take care again. All my love to you. All my love to you. Thank you for joining. Have a good night.
I can't take it no more. I can't take it no more. Can't take it no more. Imagine 18 hours of blackout and you're telling people progress. Cost of living gone up 100%, yet you give public servant less. Mr. President, listen to the people. Search your soul and you will confess. I want you try surviving on the public base, then you're gonna know but stress. Cause I done fed up, you done fed up, he done fed up, she done fed up, we done fed up, the people fed up. You're hiding corruption inside the cup, look how evil set up.
Today, I'd like to talk about the harm and disastrous impact the current Vice President of Guyana, Bharat Jagdeo, has brought upon the people of Guyana. Everything he has done has been for his own benefit, never thinking about the well-being of the people or taking any action to improve their lives. Instead of helping the common people live a decent life, he has abused his power from 1999 to 2024 to embezzle at least billions of dollars of public funds, possibly even more. The ordinary people have suffered from unfair treatment.